Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We get to have a really fast and furious conversation next. My name is Kwawu, and we are so excited to be here at the inaugural Meridian Sports Diplomacy Summit. Today, I am joined by three amazing people, and I'm excited to share your perspectives. So I'm joined here by the Ambassador of Bahrain to the United States, and then also the Ambassador of Monaco to the United States, as well as Ms. Stephanie Williams, who's Deputy Assistant Secretary for Professional and Cultural Exchange for the U.S. State Department. So welcome. So how many of you here have had the pleasure of attending a Formula One Grand Prix? Amazing. How many of you have been glued to the Netflix series? It is so incredible to witness one of the oldest sports globally. I mean, from the World Championship officially beginning in the 1950s, but it stretches way back to the 1920s, 1930s, when motor racing emerged as a symbol of engineering and excellence. And now we get to look at the likes of Lando Norris and the likes of Hamilton becoming global icons off the track and representing brands and becoming role models and more. So today, Formula One really reaches hundreds of millions of people around the world, and we're here to really talk about how this cultural phenomenon plays out in different regions of the world and what it means for the people. So I'm going to start with you, Madam Ambassador, because it feels as though Monaco is synonymous with Formula One. How did inventing a street race in 1929 shape Monaco's identity and its long-term use of the sport for diplomacy?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and good afternoon, everyone. Regarding your question about who's been to attending a Grand Prix, you know, that you've been or not, I think the Grand Prix of Monaco lives as a reference, and this is really when sports becomes culture. So to answer your questions, yes, one of the things that needs to be asked is a simple question. First, why did Monaco needed a race at all? So that takes us back to 1920s, at a time where Monaco Automobile Club needed to be recognized by the international motorsports associations. And for that, Monaco needed to have a premier racing within its own national borders. Now, other countries have fields, lands. Monaco had none. But what we have is streets, homes, garden, harbor, and all within a living city. So this is when the ingenuity of the president of the Automobile Club at the time came about. Instead of thinking outward, he thought inward and designed a racetrack that was within our city limits. Now, just to put it in perspective, Monaco is only 1 square mile, and the Grand Prix racing track is about just a little bit above 2 miles, and it has not really evolved since 1929. The first Grand Prix of Monaco took place in 1929. So since that date, Monaco has offered the world a global event anchored into a place, history, and reliability. And for a small country like us, this continuity is not only traditions, it also becomes soft power. Because it creates trust, it creates authenticity, it creates predictability. It also creates a space where people from different walks of life, from different backgrounds, come together, not for political, in a non-political arena, but comes together to share an experience, and that truly matters. So what makes the Monaco Grand Prix unique is that it is not a venue that was built for sports, but a place that became sports. And economically, it has definitely put Monaco's brand on a global level. It has helped us with tourism, it has helped us with investment, with long-term relationship that goes beyond the Grand Prix race. And also diplomatically, bringing all those people together from different walks of life in a non-political arena is where really soft power happens. And this is where sports become a unique language of precisions, of teamwork, of respect of rules. And that's truly important.
Wonderful. So, Mr. Ambassador, Bahrain was the first country in the Middle East to host a Formula One Grand Prix. How did you define what hosting Formula One should represent for the nation? And also, what story did you want to tell the world by taking that big step?
Well, Abba, it's great to see you again. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on an issue that is really dear to my heart, because I started up working in sports before getting involved with diplomacy, and now I can really see the effects of sports diplomacy. Tools that in our daily lives, we don't use these tools as much as these soft power initiatives that can result as we work our diplomatic channels. Now, unlike Monaco, the story of Bahrain is a little bit different. I think the story of Bahrain comes with a background of history, vision, and passion. We always had an old runway where people used to race. We had an old track where people used to ad hoc on weekends go out and race. And at the same time, we had a country that is very open and welcoming to others. And there was a vision that we needed to create some sort of motorsports hub for the region. And it was His Majesty the King's vision to include sports in our daily lives. And then came His Royal Highness the Crown Prince's vision to bring motorsports to the region. And as a result of that, there was 16 months from when there was a groundbreaking of the Bahrain International Circuit to when we hosted the event. First event was back in 2004. We were the only country in the region that hosted a Formula One race, and today we're one of 4 in the region that hosted. It's one of the most spectacular times in Bahrain. We have seen so much growth that comes with the sport of Formula One. But honestly speaking, we go back to American ingenuity. As soon as the Netflix series was produced, there was an uptick in viewership, and all of a sudden we saw a very different demographic visiting Bahrain. And so it's also going to be interesting this year to see a new team. Instead of 10, there are 11 teams. Cadillac is the latest one, and we're going to see how they're going to change the game. So again, it's an evolving situation where we're seeing new rules, we're seeing new drivers, we're seeing new vehicles, and we are so committed to it that maybe many of you don't know this, but a number of years ago, our Sovereign Wealth Fund bought into one of the teams. We were very patient. We worked with the team up until we were able to see some results last year. That team is obviously McLaren.
Exciting. I think we should all go. What do you say? Yeah. Stephanie, with multiple U.S. races now on the Formula One calendar, these weekends are becoming just de facto cultural showcases. I mean, Vegas, Miami, Austin, it's so exciting. How is the State Department thinking about sports and cultural tourism as tools of advancing the U.S.'s soft power?
Well, first I want to say thank you to Meridian and all of you for having me here today and letting me share the stage with both ambassadors. Sports diplomacy is just such a great tool that we can use. With the World Cup coming here this summer, we're very excited to welcome millions of visitors from around the world. And using World Cup and the 3 F1 races that we have, we're able to share our American values of freedom, innovation, strength, And it also is able to tell the story of America and show our culture to all of our visitors. And also, it's a way for us to boost local economies and grow our American influence abroad, and also build just long-lasting relationships with our partners that come here, and the people that come for the first time, maybe for the World Cup, maybe they'll come back again for our other F1 races, or they'll come back again for other American sports because they'll be able to experience that while they're here in June as well.
We've got a lot coming up on our calendar. This is very exciting. Madam Ambassador, why has the Monaco Grand Prix never been just about speed? And what does it represent for Monaco as a small state?
Yes, you're right. In fact, the Grand Prix has never been only about speed. Above all, it's about identity. It's about a small country asserting its own ingenuity. It is also about the innovative way of convening that Monaco has, bringing the whole world to its footstep, and making history on streets that, for a weekend only, once a year, becomes an international stage where they were none before. So, as I mentioned earlier, by making the Grand Prix a convening platform, we're bringing people, leaders from government, from businesses, from arts and entertainment, from sports, from media, from science. They all converge to Monaco for one thing, for sharing an experience. And when they're all together, this is when dialogue starts, and this is when they get together, and this is where business starts to be made. So it's a soft power way of creating connections.
Absolutely, thank you. Mr. Ambassador, Bahrain's engagement with Formula One goes beyond hosting, and you alluded to this, including your long-term investment and ownership of McLaren. How has this deeper involvement influenced Bahrain's approach to innovation, economic diversification, and international partnerships?
Oh, absolutely. I think that F1 really mirrors our national strategy to diversify away from natural resources. It opens up so many different avenues. The Bahrain International Circuit is not just an F1 circuit. We have a drag strip that now includes a team that's called Bahrain 1 that competes all around the world, including here in the United States. It's made up of drivers from the US and from Bahrain. We have opened the circuit up for companies like Bell Helmets to test their helmets as they produce them in Bahrain. And this whole ecosystem that's created around the sport of Formula One is one that really adds value to our country's economy. We needed to upgrade our infrastructure. We needed to build a new airport, which is now 4 times the size of our old airport, because of the Formula One. We needed to upgrade our logistics to ensure that teams come in and leave seamlessly. So much so that even as we speak, we are going to witness 2 trials next week, in the, February 11th to the 13th, and then 18th to the 20th, is where we do testing. So the teams are there consistently throughout the year. The circuit is being used for many different entertainment purposes. And it all started out with the idea of hosting the Formula One race. And so as we speak, we look at the younger generation. And I remember the first year, we put together a team of marshals. I think one of our diplomats, Nasser, is here with us, and he was on this team on the first year, where they were part of the success of hosting the race. So much so that when other countries were hosting it for the first time, they asked for support through the marshals. And it's just a non-stop kind of cycle of improvement as we continue to host the race. So it's an evolving space that we continue to enjoy.
Wonderful. I love that you're thinking of the next generation and how to also make them feel like it's theirs and they're a part of it and carry that message forward. Stephanie, these global sports events place real pressure on the visa systems, just border management, workforce mobility, so many things we've spoken about with infrastructure and more. What does it look like to strike the right balance between security, immigration priorities, while still enabling just a frictionless travel for the talent, for the teams, for the workers? Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, safety and security is the top priority for the U.S. and this administration. And we're just ensuring that all cities and visitors for our mega sporting events are safe. The President Trump and this administration has done a really great job at balancing the resources to support these mega sporting events and also be able to process and get as many visitors to the U.S. as we can, especially for the World Cup. He passed a bill into law that allocated $625 million for the World Cup security, and then also implemented the FIFA Pass, which will ensure fans that have tickets that they'll get appointments faster with our consular affairs team so that they can get visas and come. So really, we're just looking for the safety of all visitors here, and we also want everybody to come and enjoy our events. You know, we're a leader for mega sporting events, and we hope that people choose to come visit us for that reason.
Absolutely, thank you. Madam Ambassador, why is it misleading to see Monaco as only Formula One? And what does the historic electric and Formula One trilogy reveal about the excellence sustained over time?
Yes, if you ask someone about the Monaco Grand Prix, they think only about one race. But, you know, Monaco racing is not contained into only a weekend. In fact, we have a trilogy of Grand Prix. And each of them represent a special time in the life cycle of excellence. So we have, for instance, the historic Monaco Grand Prix, which normally it's organized every couple of years, but it will take place this year in April in Monaco. And this is a celebration of craftsmanship, heritage, and memory. And then we have the electric Monaco Grand Prix, the E-Prix, which is really all about innovations and sustainability leading. And this will take place this year also in May. And then, of course, we have this year, for the first time, the Louis Vuitton Formula One Monaco Grand Prix. And this will take place, for all of you, the weekend of June 6th, the 4th. The trials start on the 4th through the 7th. The Grand Prix takes place on the 7th. And this is really the global pinnacle of performance. But beyond that, we also have another Grand Prix called the Formula 3 Grand Prix. And this is where we really grooming the future champions of tomorrow. Before there is any contract, before there is any endorsement, before there is any branding. And this is also one that is very important because they have to really work corner by corner to make it. And so we're really rewarding excellence. Now, the other question was, I'm sorry, asking me about the ask questions.
I'm dying to hear about your personal story and connection with racing.
Well, you know, I mean, I grew up in Monaco, so I lived this race I lived it. It wasn't staged. So I worked for the Olympic Club. I worked for the sponsors and so on. And one year there was a forum of Formula One drivers held in Monaco, and I was only 18-year-old. I just had passed my driving license, and I had a car, and I was working on that forum. And I was asked, since there was a taxi strikes in France and Monaco, I was asked if I wouldn't mind driving Jackie Stewart to the airport. So, so I asked him to, you know, I wasn't about to drive, you know. I mean, here I just had my license 2 months ago, and he's the world champion. So I'd asked him to drive, but he said no, he insisted. So I drove him to the airport, and I figured, Must have been the longest and the hardest drive that I've ever had in my life. But in a very nice way, he wrote me a little note and he said, "Good luck, Maggie, in life, from a driver to another driver." Many decades later, now I'm an ambassador and I'm on the train coming back from New York to Washington, D.C. And in that train, who do I see? Jackie Stewart. So I said, oh my goodness, I just have to talk to him and tell him, remind him. So I got up and talked to him and he said, and you drove? And I said, yes, I did. And so we started talking and he wasn't supposed to be on that train. He was coming to DC because his son, Mark Stewart, was presenting a documentary titled The Last Man on the Moon with Gene Cernan. And this plane had been canceled. So he said to me, would you like to join me tomorrow night? Which, of course, I did, because space is one of my favorite subjects also. And when I went to that performance and met Gene Cernan, and so it really inspired me. And I thought, maybe I can do something with that in Monaco. So we started creating in 2016 an event in Monaco called Pioneers and Innovators of Our Times, where we presented this documentary and had different astronauts, scientists coming to Monaco to discuss the importance of space for progress. And from this, one of my sponsors at the time was Venturi. Now, Venturi is a company that moved its headquarters to Monaco in 2000 and became really very knowledgeable in the high-performance electric mobility, and especially E-Team. And they're the one who really facilitated Monaco in establishing itself as a center for electric racing innovations. And the first Monaco Electric Grand Prix took place in 2015. So Venturi first came as a sponsor for my own Figure on Space, and Venturi eventually developed also technology for batteries in very extreme conditions, very cold weather, very warm weather. And from that, eventually, the technology evolved in creating batteries for moon rovers in space. So here, indirectly, from Venturi in Monaco, Monaco is also involved from racetrack to space now. And it is one of the two companies that's been selected through its affiliates here in the United States as one of the companies that will help NASA with the Artemis agreement. So here it is.
It all started with an
Long story.
18-year-old driver in Monaco, full circle. Mr. Ambassador, I have a question for you. I'm curious about how you manage to bring in your local businesses and communities into what you've built with your Formula One Grand Prix, and how they become a part of this and benefit from it as well.
I think one thing that we've really focused on from day one is the experience that people get when they come to Bahrain. That's what differentiates this race from others. And yes, it's a world-class event, but then the intricacies of culture and interacting with locals was one of the fundamental priorities that we had and we continue to have. And so wherever you go, you're going to walk by a store and there's a Bahraini that you're going to deal with. There are many products that were produced around Formula One by local artists and local artisans, and both men and women, which is also an important segment within the conversation, is that the empowerment and the advancement of women in sports in general, but also through what we've seen with the marshals, and it's just spectacular. And so we continue to provide that through some of the entities that we've developed in Bahrain to help support local businesses. But at the same time, we try to make it easier for folks to access Bahrain. We just launched a direct flight in October out of New York by our national carrier, Gulf Air. We continue to find ways to make it easier for people to visit, to get a unique experience, and to come back and see us. This is an open invitation to you all. We usually have the first race of the season, but this year, because of the month of Ramadan, we've pushed it a little bit. So looking forward to it.
You heard it here first. We're all invited. You're all my witnesses. We're just about out of time, but if I may just ask one last question to all of you or anyone who would like to share about this. Looking ahead, what would it take for Formula One to be viewed not only as a commercial success, but a benchmark of how mega events can advance and be sustainable long-term value for global corporations over the next decade? Anybody can take. Big fat question to end with.
Well, I think that Formula One is global today, so it is also be judged not only on its commercial value results, but of course also on its legacy, what it leaves behind. And right now Formula One is at the intersections of sports, technology, media, storytelling, national branding. So it has become a laboratory. And the question is, what is it going to bring if the innovation that are developed through all those races helps solve real-world solutions? Then it will bring beyond this commercial, it will help its commercial success and help us also in funding global cooperations. That's what I think.
Great answer.
I mean, you cannot end on a better note with all what is happening throughout the world, all the challenges, all the opportunities. I think this is one of the opportunities where people, regardless of political background or where they are in terms of ideology, this is a melting pot of people. And for us to start to use these tools and to use sports diplomacy as a vehicle to the better environment that we can leave our kids is something that we will continue to strive for.
Wonderful.
I'll just echo what you all said. Sports diplomacy just creates a great opportunity for people to come together and also creates opportunities for our diplomatic corps to engage and for our world leaders to engage in a way that is a little bit more fun than sometimes other situations will arise. And just F1 on its own has created such a great boost to Austin, Miami, Las Vegas. So the commercial diplomacy side of sports is also a great benefit that here in the US we see, and we hope to continue.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I will see you all at the airport. We all have our invitations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.